Hey everyone, it's Neptorka here, back for another reaction video. We have the Gacha revenue report for the month of June. It is Gacha PvP time. Now, before we get started, I had predicted last month that all three Hoyo games would beat Wuthering Waves. I knew it would be a stretch, but that's what I thought. Now, I've already been spoiled a little bit by the thumbnail of, Gacha tourist extraordinaire Ethan. So I know that HSR did not beat Wuthering Waves, which of the ones that I thought could lose out to Wuthering Waves, it was HSR. So, anyways, let's go ahead, go through it. I'll give you my opinions on what I see, and from there, we will see basically what I think is coming in the future, and whether it's good for the game, bad for the game, and basically my thoughts and opinions on the ones that I know about most. So let's go ahead and get started. So Bang Dream Girls Party, Solo Living Arise. I really don't know much about these, to be honest. Now this is surprising. Fire Emblem, for the first time ever, I think it's ever gone off of this 3 million mark. Which means that I think for the first time ever, Fire Emblem Heroes is finally starting to lose profit. Which kind of concerns me a little bit because, it's like my first gacha game. I love it a lot. This last month was Bikini Month. However, it's probably the most unpopular bikini banner I think we've seen in history. A lot of the main Faytubers, like, they poo-pooed on it. They said it sucks. Terrible Heroes. I think they're going to be regretting that later on, to be honest, from what I've seen. And the new hero banner wasn't that great either. So maybe this, I can kind of see this, but honestly, it's still kind of surprising. And also, the legendary mythic emblem hero that usually happens at the end of the month, and usually there's a few days there. I believe it happened like on the 30th. So really not enough time to rack up some money from Micaiah. So we'll see next month. This will bounce back, but they only ever give like their totals in millions, and this is probably just going to move from 2 million to 3 million, so it really won't be that much. AFK Arena, continuing to just kind of slowly degrade bit by bit. Heaven Burns Red. This one's kind of a disappointment because it at one time when it was only in Japan, it did amazing. And then, like all the other Japanese games, it waited too long to come to global, and so it just didn't get the support that it could have had. And so I think it's just going to continue to decline, which is kind of a bummer. I never played too much of it, but it was pretty cool what I did play through. And I'm kind of wondering what Uma Musume is, because that finally hit global servers this month. So Silver and Blood, I actually just saw a commercial for this. I'd never seen this before, so I'm kind of intrigued about what this is. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. But I think it came out recently. I'll have to take a look at it. AFK Journey, just like the other AFK games, really kind of a drop-off from their last month. So I don't know what it was that came up last month, but that's a pretty big drop. Now, Girls Frontline 2, last month was Vector. And then they had Yuhi and Xiaohui. And I think Vector had a Klukai rerun. I don't quite remember when the Klukai rerun was. But this is a pretty big drop-off. However, people are saving up because they know in about midway towards the beginning of June, they found out that Springfield was coming. And Springfield is a huge one. So, kind of like Klukai, there are just kind of some really big breakpoints for Girls Frontline that's going to make the revenue go way back up again. And so I think that's going to happen next month. It's going to be even better than this number. It's probably going to be in the 6-7 millions. Springfield releases in like a day or two, so it's right at the beginning of the month as well. It's going to be a solid month for Girls Frontline. So Uh, don't worry about this. They're going to go right back up. Tokyo Debunker, never heard of it. To be honest, I don't even remember it from last month. Jeez. Okay, we have One Piece Ambition, so another one trying to, use the One Piece name to get more money. I don't know if this is a pump and dump or if this is actually pretty good. But it's Chinese only for now. Disney Twisted Wonderland. This is going to just continue to slowly go down, I think, and then it'll settle somewhere. I don't know where it's going to settle, but it's going to be like Fire Emblem Heroes. It's always going to be popular with young kids and whatnot. So this will eventually settle, but it's going to continue to go down. Memento Mori, I think, also is in its decline phase. If you knew Memento Mori when it first came out, it actually made a surprising a lot of money because its artwork is beyond gorgeous. But there's really not much gameplay involved. So it eventually is just going to continue to go down and down and down. I'm surprised it made this much money, to be honest. If there ever was a definition of buying PNGs, Memento Mori is the one. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, don't know anything about it. Here's the lower of the DBZs, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Had a huge boost last month. We'll see if it stays there or whatnot. Infinity Nikkei, I'm surprised. I thought that they had just fixed everything, but that may be the patch that's coming next. So we'll see if this number goes back up, but this discontinual drop in revenue is due to the ongoing problems that they have had with, the monetization inside the game, and we'll see if they turn it around. But basically, they just became more greedy, and that's they started to be more specific. They started to, from my knowledge, they started to. Like if you wanted a full set of clothing, it was like 10, and now it's like 11 pieces, and then they changed the costs of them, and it really rubbed people the wrong way. So we'll see if this continues to drop. I would say if this drops again next month, then the game is in danger, because it's falling off hard. And if it's falling off hard, it's going to be really difficult to recover. Snowbreak was a game that fell off pretty hard, and they recovered by going, hot and sexy time. But that's something that I don't think Infinity Nikkei wants to do, or a route they want to pursue. So, I just don't think that's going to work out for them. So we'll see. But overall, not looking good. Blue Archive last month was mostly reruns. It did have the pajama set, I believe, during June. Noah Pajamas and Yuka Pajama came out, but those aren't super popular. It's kind of like the Idol banner. Like, it's nice, but it's not that popular. We're going to be getting, I think, like anniversary units soon. And I believe that will shoot Blue Archive back up. Also, Steam was supposed to be released about 10 days ago, and it didn't because of the Steam review process. I have a feeling that it'll eventually go through, but it'll probably also take some money from its overall monthly revenue report, because if you don't know, I'm telling you now, this is pretty much mostly just from your mobile devices in terms of revenue. So it'll take a little bit whenever you kind of try to parse through how accurate these numbers are. You have to know whether or not a game is played a lot on your mobile device, and Blue Archive is one that is very easy to play on your mobile devices. So I don't think the impact will be as bad as it is for something like like an action combat game getting moved from mobile to the computer. Ensemble Stars, once again, I don't know much, but pretty big drop here. Interesting. Brown Dust 2 had It just continues to improve each month. Brown Dust 2 jumps up to 5 million. It released, it finished the Goblin Slayer collab, which was last month. And actually, that's surprising because that's how bad it did last month. And then this month, they released basically the beginning of their anniversary, in which they, is it their second anniversary, in which they brought out a super hot skin for Wilhelmina. And then they also brought out a Reffy skin, which I don't like at all. I don't like lollies. She's apparently a fairy that is ageless, so they're like covering their bases. But after there was a blowback, after she got put in the game, they have not made they've kind of strayed away from the lollies. But this, I guarantee you, most is from Wilhelmina. Besides the fact that Reffy's like, yeah, she's a lolly, but she's also a broken lolly. Like she's like the Nahida of Brown Dust 2. So like they're gonna make a lot of money of this, and then it probably will go down a little bit next month, but it's still gonna stay somewhat it's not gonna drop down to this number, because next month we're gonna be getting the swimsuit of, oh, what's her name, Zenith, who's another, I mean, she's an ass lady. She's also very nice looking. So this is gonna be eating good for about, June and July, and then maybe I think it'll drop down more it'll drop down more in August, but it really kind of lives or dies based on the units coming out and how attractive they are. The game is definitely built off of you like spending for the hot PNGs or spending with the other head than it is meta. Let's just say that. Still, really good game. I mean, just 2 days ago, I had fun. I think we played 3 hours trying to figure out the Fiend Hunt, the best combination for the Fiend Hunt. So we have One Piece Grand Treasure Cruise, staying steady pretty much. Beyond the World, another Chinese. It's NetEase. It's another Chinese Girl Coomer game. It's just never going to reach the level of Love in Deep Space. So we'll see how it goes. But I have a feeling that eventually this one will start to drop off. Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Looks like a little bit of bump there. I don't know what came out, but it seems to be doing pretty consistent. Azure Lane dropped to 5.7 million. It is no longer in the... It was up at 9.3 because it was the initial launch of the UR event for the Chinese New Year. And that Chinese New Year went into June a little bit, but it did not go that far. So it probably should have dropped off more than this, but the UR event was still running, and it's going to drop off pretty heavily next month because July is probably always its weakest month, because that's when we have PR ships come out, and that doesn't really take any cubes. And so it's just like the spending goes down. And then in August, you have the global release. You'll have the global release anniversary. And then in September, you'll have the Japanese release anniversary. And so the numbers will just continue to shoot up. And September will probably hit around, like, it's going to drop a ton next month, probably down to the 2-3 million. And then by September, it's going to be back up to the 10-12 million, depending on basically which ships they use, which faction they use. It kind of all depends on that. So, all right, we have Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. I don't really know much about it, but it's keeping steady, which is good. It's running off of its name, but if it was only name that it was running off of, it would have collapsed a long time ago, but it's not. So it's doing pretty good, which is nice. On Neoji, this one I think released last year. It seems to be doing pretty consistent. We'll see how long it lasts, but it at least is staying consistent. Reverse 1999, huge drop off. That's to be expected in May. $10 million was from its half anniversary. It's like 2.5 anniversary, I think. So having a huge drop off for Recoleta, even though she's like one of the best mineral DPSs in the game, it's a drop off because it's no longer the half anniversary. And the reverse 1999, if I were to take a guess, I don't know the actual numbers, but I'm guessing it has a really good spending profile. And what I mean by that is you have people buying the characters, you have people buying the skins and so forth. Or, you know, stamina refreshing. It's all pretty even. Whereas Azure Lane, pretty much like 99% of their sales comes from basically from skins. And then you have something like, I don't have another, well, Blue Archive, pretty much all of its money is coming from character and buying money so that you can acquire more characters. So, spending profile of Reverse 99 is pretty large. Drop off because of basically the fact that it no longer is going to be the anniversary has gone through, the half anniversary has gone through. This upcoming month, July, is also probably going to be even worse. It's going to go even lower, and that's because in August, we're going to find out in a couple of days, I believe, we're going to be getting the launch of not only a half anniversary, I think, for Global, or a full anniversary for Global. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But we'll be getting like the part 2 the second anniversary for Global, and then we'll also be getting the initial launch of the Assassin's Creed collaboration, in which it's expected to have Ezio and probably Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey will be playable characters. That is expected to launch late August. So I don't know if they're going to launch it at the end of a patch or they're just going to launch it alongside the patches. My guess, kind of what I hope they do, is they launch it after a patch on the Chinese side, and then they launch it with the patches on the global side so that global can finally catch up to the Chinese. They're getting really close. Like, they're getting really close. I say it's the second anniversary for Reverse 1999. That's not actually supposed to happen until October, but we've moved 2 months basically closer to the Chinese schedule, and so it's getting closer and closer for us to catch up to them. We're only about like two patches behind them now, as opposed to, like, I think in the beginning we were like 5 or 6. So we've definitely made up some ground, but we'll see if it continues to go that direction. But expect a huge drop off in July for Hisabeth, as well as Capernia, who are the ones being released in July. And I expect it to kind of shoot back up in August. Doesn't matter whether or not it's going to be the Assassin's Creed and the anniversary together, or just Assassin's Creed. Doesn't make a difference. It's going to shoot big up in August. So don't worry here. It's going to drop down, but it'll go back up. Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage, staying steady. I don't know much about it. Idol Master dropped a ton. I'm still surprised we haven't gotten an Idol Master over in the States, but maybe that's just because I enjoy the Idol Master, and whereas this is more of a Japanese thing. They could possibly do it in the future, and if they do, it'll probably be too late, like all the other games that are too late to do stuff. The Japanese games that are too late to do stuff, such as Heaven's Burn Red, which we talked about before, and the next one, or the one that I'm expecting to see at the top of this list, not at the top, but higher up on the list, Uma Musume, which just came out over here on Global. Summoner's War, continuing to churn out money as usual. I don't know anything about Summoner's War, but it continues to do well. Now, Etheria Restart, this is kind of interesting. I expect this number to just absolutely crash next month. I expect it to be less than, let's say less than 2 million. It's not a great game. It really isn't. And the only reason it got so much publicity is because there were so many people shilling for it and doing basically free well, not free, but it was advertising for the game. It's not really a good game. I played it for about a week and a half to 2, and then I couldn't play it anymore. It's really bad. They basically lifted all of its progression systems from the game Dislight, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, it's just kind of bleh. So kind of a disappointment, and I expect this number to just drop off real soon. So at 7 million, this will be the highest the game ever got and will ever get. Immediately after this, it's going to start dropping off. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of what I expect. Let's see. We have Battle Cats. I know nothing about Battle Cats, but it dropped 3 million this time. Arc Knights, massive drop. I don't know what went on in Arc Knights last month, but apparently it was huge, and it jumped up to 33 million. It usually is not up that high. It's up high, but it's not up that high. And so jumped up a huge ton, and then now it's back down to its area, which is around the 7 million to 14 million area. That's around where Arc Knight settles in around. So pretty good. Puzzles and Dragons. I don't know much about Poisons and Dragons. Puzzles and Dragons. I honestly don't know much about it, but these are kind of like these games that are very popular with mothers, sisters, children. It makes a lot of money through that. It's not your traditional gacha game, but that's what they're there for, and they make plenty of money. So here's another One Piece continuing to make money. Huge jump. I don't know what it was for, but the One Piece games tend to not be pump and dumps. They tend to be games that at least have some staying power, which is good. We have Cookie Run Kingdom, which has a drop off. It's kind of interesting, but it's just a small drop off. Down to 11 million. I don't know much about Cookie Run Kingdom, but it's continuing to do pretty well. Now, Uma Musume, this is the game that I was talking about that finally got its global release. This jump is not much. It doesn't really tell what's going on because this is combining the Japanese numbers from before and adding in the Japanese and global numbers of the first, its first month. And its first month is only I think it's been out for a week. So it was at the very end of the month that it was released. I think next month we're going to be able to tell how good it is. Because another thing, this game makes a lot of money in Japan. And Japan alone is enough to sway the charts much more than a global release. So if a really powerful unit comes out next month in Japan, I won't be able to tell whether or not it's succeeding or failing in the West. I just won't be able to tell. Unfortunately, they don't separate these like they used to, so we'll never know whether or not it's succeeding over here or not. But it is open to a new audience. We'll see if it succeeds here as well. I do want to try it out and see what it's like. We'll see if I get the chance to. So we're now in the top 15. Okay, we're getting to the good stuff. I have not seen Snowbreak yet or Epic 7. I did not think they would be doing that bad. But let's see. I don't think they would be doing better than... I did not think they'd be doing better than 11, 12 million. If we don't see them this month, we're definitely going to see them next month. Because they've got huge stuff coming up next month. But I'm kind of surprised that neither of those games broke 1.9 million. I don't know. I feel like something's missing there. All right. So we have Monster Strike, another one of the puzzle games that goes with Cookie Run Kingdom and Puzzles and Dragons. It's going to make money because it's a separate audience. It's a different audience. So we have Light and Night, which is another girl Coomer game. I don't know what to say when I see one of these. Obviously, obviously some really hot dude just was released. And the girls had to have him. That's all I know. So we have 13. Okay, this is the winner of the Dragon Ball games for this month, and honestly, this was the winner from last month. So, huge increase. People who were spending money in one switched over to this one. Dragon Ball continues to thrive. Big surprise. All right, we have Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. I did not even know this release. What the hell is this? Why have I not heard of this? I guess I'll have to check this out. There's like, I'm at this point where like a bunch of stuff came out and I really need to just like download them all and see what they're like and try them. We'll see. But 17 million? Damn. That's pretty good for a game that was released and didn't have the same pushing power that freaking garbage Etheria Restart had. So, let's see what happens with this. I didn't know this existed, and I guess I need to go around and download some games and test them out. So here we go. We have Honkai Star Rail. I was expecting it to fall to around like 26, you know, or 32. I wasn't expecting it to fall all the way down to 18. Now, in all honesty, I also forgot to calculate the fact that people are going to be saving. So even though Cypher is a pretty cool character and her light cone is pretty popular, I forgot to pay attention to the fact that people will be saving because of Finon, who is very popular, even more popular than Cypher, and the Fate collab. This will be number 1 next month. For I would be shocked if this is not number 1 next month. So expect probably another over 100 million sale package coming from Honkai Star Rail next month. And those 100 millions, that does not happen often. It happens very rarely. So if they can make over 100 million, that'll be like the second or third time that Honkai Star Rail has done it. And I think the other ones who have done it, like ZZZ's done it once. And if even that, I think ZZZ hit like 99 million. And then Genshin Impact has done it like 4 or 5 times. It's rare to be able to do that, but it's very possible that they're going to do it again. The stars kind of have to align. Like Finon comes out, I think, like later tonight. And then, of course, the Fate collab characters come out a week later. So that's the whole month of July, man. It's going to be making a lot of money. And of course, in August, things will die off because that's the cycle of things. But, you know, September will come right back up again. So we'll see what happens. But this one will be interesting. I wasn't expecting it to drop this far, but I also forgot to calculate some things. So that's fair. SD Gundam G Generational Eternal. 42 million last month. And now it's down to 20 million. This game is creeping up there. Like, even though it lost basically half of its revenue from last time, it's getting up there in terms of its ability to make money. This is another game that I should probably download and see how it's doing. So we have Nikke, Goddess of Victory. Look at that, doing the exact same amount. This is the power of Stellar Blade. So Nikke did a collaboration with his own IP, Stellar Blade, and even though this 21.5 million is from the month of its half anniversary, which its half anniversaries and anniversaries are always huge money makers, with the release of Little Mermaid and the super hot, I can't even remember her name. Oh shit, what's her name? It starts with an M. That's all I know. But she's the bondage lady. They released both of them and, you know, made a lot of money off of it. Probably not as much as Crown. I'd have to go back a year and look at it, but plenty of money. And then they continued that consistency when Eve was released with the other, I think her name is Raven. Yeah, Raven and Eve were released from Stellar Blade, and it continues to make money. So I'm not surprised here. Nikke's going to drop off next month. That's just the way of things. And honestly, it probably won't hit this 20 or so million for probably until the anniversary. The thing here to note is that also this upcoming month is going to be a rerun of the Nier Automata collaboration. probably won't make as much money. I mean, well, for sure, it's not going to make 21 million, but the drop off won't be as large as it should be, considering that there's no new collab or half anniversary to prop it up. They're bringing in some new skins, some swimsuit skins for the Nier girls. I saw some of them that look pretty good, not gonna lie, but this is to be expected. It means that they had a really good collaboration, but expect Nikkei's profits to start going down and settling in probably around the 10-12 million until the new 3-year anniversary hits, which will be in November. So do take note of that. So we have Fate Grand Order continuing to churn out money, creating its money printing machine. I don't know what to say, man. I still can't believe people spend money on this game. I'm not a fan of it. It irritates me. But it's like an oldie but goodie. People love it, and so it continues to make money. We have Naruto Mobile, which lost, what is that, 9 million? I have no clue what happened here. I do know that people have been pretty excited for this. We'll see if it ever comes to English regions. I will say, though, that games that start out in Chinese regions tend to have a better odds of moving to American regions than games that start in Japanese regions and move globally. Like, Japan, never wants to take the time to move their games to global. All right, we're getting close to the big games, and we're going to see if I'm correct about them. So let's see number 6. ZZZ, I was wrong. So ZZZ moved up to 38 million. I thought Yishwen would net it more money than this. So I'm kind of surprised. I thought it would net a lot more money than this, and I guess it didn't, It had the whole month. Yishwen came out at the very beginning of the month, and it was a very good anniversary patch. But this is, doing pretty good for it. Especially since ZZZ has been on the decline in terms of monetary value recently. It just can't hold up to HSR and Genshin. So let's look at number 5. Ooh, that's so close. So after this god-awful anniversary patch, in which it did 25 million, I still can't believe it managed to make 25 million off of that patch. It increased to 39 million for the Kartethia patch. The Kartethia patch, let's be real, Kartethia looks and feels amazing to play. She's so awesome. Love her. Love her to death. And I'm really glad that it made this much. It's really cool. I was not expecting it to be ZZZ, but this is about the number I was expecting out of Wuthering Waves. I was expecting this number to be higher. That's essentially it. The interesting thing is I predicted for sure that Genshin Impact with Skirk getting only a week and a half would beat Wuthering Waves, and that seems to be what happened. I knew when I saw Ethan's clickbait title video, and it showed that he was comparing Wuthering Waves to HSR. I was like, why are you comparing it to HSR, which has a saving patch? You should be comparing it to ZZZ. These are pretty good comparisons. That shows you that the games are doing pretty on equal terms with one another, which is pretty good, and they've got some really cool units coming up. Now, this number is going to drop hard. Lupa is cool, but she just does not carry the weight of Kartethia. And you're no longer going to have an anniversary banner. So even though Lupa comes out at the very beginning of the month, you're going to see this number drop. Probably, let's be nice, it's probably going to drop down to 25. But then the month after that, for the month of August, I'm betting that this number craters. Frolova is on the docket, but I'm sorry. Maybe this is my own bias. Frolova just doesn't push it for me like something like Cartathia does, or Jinsei, or Shorekeeper, or Camellia. Like they're in different areas, and it won't be until we see Augusta and Yono that you'll see another rebound from Wuthering Waves, which will be probably September. All right, let's see number 4, Seventh Night Rebirth. Netmarble 40 million from Korea. Okay. I mean, I would love to see this come to the States so I can try it out, you know? Stop leaving it, you know? Yeah. I wish it would come to the States. I hate it when I can't tell what something's going on. All right. So the top 3 have to be Genshin, Love and Deep Space, and Pokemon. Who's in first, second, and third? Starting with Pokemon TCG. Dropped down 2. Lost $30 million. From what someone has explained to me, like, there's like a new pack every month. So I don't understand these giant swings for Pokemon TCG. I just don't know. Maybe it's because at the beginning of June, was it the beginning of June that a new Pokemon pack came out? I can't remember. It also could be the fact that the new Pokemon, the new Nintendo Switch came out and people had to spend their money on that. So we'll see. All right. So, I can't really tell you much on this other than the fact that there was a drop off. So, I don't know, man, what is it about opening packs that would cause a 30 million swing? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I can expect small. I would expect, with how the game is designed, to what I know, new packs every month, the swings should be smaller. You know, like 10 million this way, 10 million this way, 5 million this way, 5 million that way. It shouldn't be this large, but this is what we got. So I'm kind of curious. We'll see what happens in the future, but this is always going to continue to be a huge one. All right, Genshin or Love and Deep Space? Love and Deep Space. Lost 7 million. Are the girls fleeing over to this other one here, Light and Night? They went and spent their money. They're like, no, this guy's hotter. I want this one instead. So, Love and Deep Space also continuing to be pretty consistent. And that means that number 1 is Genshin. Made $65 million for Skirk. Releasing in the third, in the third week. It was at the third or the fourth week of June. And it managed to just absolutely obliterate both these games here, which had the entire month for their big heavy hitters. That's interesting. And you also, too, have to take into perspective the different Hoyo games, because it kind of, in a way, is the same audience. So, HSR would receive a bigger drop-off because a lot of HSR players are also playing Genshin, vice versa. ZZZ, I think, maybe is the oddball. And it's got its own kind of area, its own niche inside the Hoyoverse. But this, I knew it. I called it. I knew that Skirk releasing would be an entire month of Cartathia shilling. I did not expect ZZZ's number to be so low. I expected it to be in the 40s. Around the 40s. Maybe 50s. In my head, it probably would not have beaten Pokemon TCG, but it would have been like in between here. It would have been 4th. That's what I thought it was going to make, and it didn't. So that's 2 things really that I got wrong. For this, basically for this Gacha revenue. I did not expect Honkai Star Rail to drop that much. I expected ZZZ to make more. Wuthering Waves is pretty much on point for where I thought it would be. Genshin, I didn't have a number in my head, but I knew it was going to sell big time. Because Skirk is just really popular. And, you know, so that's it. You had 3 major releases in Skirk, Cartethia, Yishuan. You can see who the winners were. Like, it's not even a competition. Not only is there 25 million more, but a week and a half less time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Any surprises? The 30 million swing bothers me. I don't know what it's about. I don't know why Epic 7. I'm very surprised that Epic 7 didn't even appear in here. I'm surprised that Snowbreak didn't appear in here. That'll change next month because we're getting wedding suits for the anniversary, and Snowbreak will appear on this list for sure. Epic 7 is getting a broken ass unit in an ML pool, as well as a new summer unit. So Epic 7 will be back in this list next month. Etheria Restart will crash. I guarantee you the game is not good. Do not believe anything anyone's saying. I need to try out some of these other games that I have not seen or have been in this list for a while, like Gundam G, Shadowverse. Hey Sophie, how you doing? Let's see what else is there. And I think that's pretty much it. That's kind of the takeaway from this gacha month for the month of June. Genshin reigns supreme with Skirk. And I think next month, well, I already told you, next month Honkai Star Rail is going to be number 1, and it's not even a question. I guarantee you, number 1. I think it's a bigger question whether or not it will be above 100 million or not versus whether it will be number 1. It's going to be number 1 next month. No question. Genshin is going to drop. Wuthering Waves is going to drop. ZZZ is going to drop. They're all going to drop. Nikkei is going to drop. I don't know anything about these two. I really need to check this out. Like, it's not just this one, Shadowverse, and then this one down here, Silver and Blood. Whoops. Hey, go back. I didn't tell you to go away. So, that's pretty much it. That's my entire reaction to the Gacha revenue report. Honestly, pretty good. I got most of them right. There were two big sticklers that I really didn't get right, and that is, I didn't expect ZZZ to not make more than it did, and I did not expect HSR to lose as much as it did. This one though was an oversight on my part though. I really did forget that people would be saving up for this upcoming month. So we'll see what's going on next month. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Nuptorka out. See you guys.